Yo, it's Evan, and welcome to my fuck up. So I'm gonna go ahead and this is part 2 to a video that no one will ever see because it technically doesn't exist. But a couple weeks ago, I went ahead and I went to a show at 1904 Music Hall in Jacksonville, Florida. It was a great venue, had some awesome lighting. First time in a venue with some good lighting in a long time, and took photos for, did video for a band called Flag on Fire. Sorry, man. I gotta do a chaser. That's just how I am. Just be like that sometimes. Anyways, was at the show, and this awesome band called Bigwig played.
Buckled on, we save unto the gun, and this war inside is never won. I have always sworn that I won't conform. I refuse to suffer anymore.
And did some video for their show, just for fun. Band members okayed it and everything, but there was a few songs I didn't record, and I actually went ahead and did some photography during that time. So just spent the previous hour going through picking all those photos, only to realize that OBS was, at my own hands, not recording anything. So checking now, and yeah, we're recording now, so you should be able to see my screen. But so yeah, really quick, I guess I'm gonna look through these photos real quick. What was special about this night was this was my first night using the Sony 24mm f1.4. I have the Sony 24 to 105mm f4. I was doing the video with that. Having a zoom lens for doing video was, that's pretty important, especially when I'm not moving. I can't zoom with my feet. The band's on stage, so it's good to be able to pull in, get those tight shots. And I was really happy. I'm really happy with how that lens works. And I shoot with the A7III, so low light performance is really nice. But the 24mm is it's a 1.4. So one of my reasons I wanted this lens was one. I really do like the 24mm focal range for snapshot, just really casual photography. And I find, usually when I want to take pictures is kind of later at night, people hanging out, whether we're at the bar or a party or something like that. But when I get more comfortable, not to say that I'm always uncomfortable around people, but when just the mood is right, I want to get the camera out. It's typically it's nighttime, and so 1.4 has just been that's an aperture that I need, and I've been using with a lot of my vintage prime lenses that I've just had, but I really want the autofocus and just all of the bonuses that come with a modern day piece of glass. So this show was the first time getting to use this lens, and I kind of decided early on I wasn't going to use it for video this night. That's just already said. That's why that happens. So yeah, had the 24, and so there were some photos I got here early in the night, and if you can see here, these are at f4, so I shot these with my 24 to 105, and then I switched off. The first band that played that night, I actually didn't do any video work for, and I felt really bad that I didn't, and it was their last song of the set. I was actually hanging outside, listening to them. I could hear them inside. They were this a very solid sounding kind of gutter punk, real fast, just almost thrash, and heavy punk band, and they're called Friendly Fire, and actually going to be seeing them next Monday, so really looking forward to actually being able to kind of give them some more work. And But I felt bad that yeah, their set was getting close to the end, so I ran in real quick and basically last song just did a full little circle, and you know I grabbed some photos. So you know, start obviously from the back, moving up to the front right, all the way over to the front left. You know, start with the drummer, always the most important. You know, I really wish I had that other video because I talked about all this. Drummers, if you're looking to photograph bands, live bands, just get the drummer first. Do the drummer first, back of the stage. Get that, get up front. Get up front and start getting your other members of the band. And then after that, you know, go review your photos if you've got the time, and you know, go get what you need and stuff. If you know, but so go ahead. We got bass player. We move to the center. We got our singer, and then on the right. Now these two photos, I'm hoping, I haven't started editing these yet. I think I can pull the shadows up and everything. We'll get this looking all right. And then just like some more options for the drummer. So all of these photos here, yeah, so all of these were taken with this first band were taken with the 24 to 105. All shot at f4. So the shutter speed, 1/40th of a second. You know, the fact that this person is not an absolute blur is it amazes me. This one, obviously, whatever I was using for my exposure metering, it decided to shoot at 1/60th of a second. So face is well underexposed. We'll see how it goes. And but yeah, works a little bit better. It decided to do 1/250th here and everything. If for anyone interested, I have my camera set for aperture priority. So I'm typically going to have my aperture set at the lowest or the fastest that it can be. And my shutter speed is set at a 250 or 2/50th of a second. And my ISO is set between 100 to 8,000. So if I'm at 8,000 and it's still not, exposure's not bright enough or not there yet, it's going to start lowering the shutter speed from 250 to whatever it needs to be. So I am shooting a lot of photos at 8,000 ISO, which sounds ridiculous. I know a lot of cameras, that's tough to handle, but that is why I used to love, I wanted an A7S when I would watch the low light performance test of those cameras, because primarily a lot of my photography has been of bands in clubs, and even with the best lighting, you're going to just have very, very dark situations. So I want something that I can be able to push that ISO as high as possible. Not to say that you can't get away with just making your photos black and white. That was a big part of what I used to do, and that, you know, I used to get away with that. But anyways, that's not why I'm doing this. This is for why I got a lens that shoots at 1.4. So moving on, the band of the night, the headlining band was Bigwig, which is just this legendary punk band that has some songs that for a while I didn't even know were Bigwig songs, and then I heard them play that night and realized I know every word of this song, and they're just punk staples of, you know, there's just tunes that you know. And so I've already gone through these are as you can see, I've got them labeled. I mean, basically, like, I got 5 stars, maybe some have 4 stars. If it had 4 stars, it's probably because there's a similar photo, but typically it's just these 5. And I can already say, like, right now, what is this? How many photos? We got I think 34 pictures. So I took a total, I shoot with continuous shutter, so obviously that's the best thing to do in a lot of situations. People blink very unexpectedly, even in portraits, and if you're doing a photo where it just general candidates and you're not trying to get, like, you're not trying to just like hit a photo. You just like, you want to fire off one real quick. People blink. And then with musicians, there's a lot of little details that happen and everything. So, you know, I like to look at the, especially guitar players. I look at their arms. I look at where their hand is at the time. If you can get a photo that's going to show them with just a kind of like force or energy or something that they're putting off, and not just looking like they're just standing there like, you know, just these just motionless, just like mannequins. Like that's the worst thing. And especially when you have a high energy band or somebody like a band that's really putting on a show, you know, you wanna help them. You know, they're already doing their thing, so like they're feeding you everything that you need. So you got to go ahead and pick up on that, and you know, hold up your end. So this was the first photo I saw that came across that I said, wow, this venue really has some. I love the lighting. I love the lighting here. This is thank you so much. I appreciate it. You saw this is at 8,000 ISO. It probably didn't need to be this high. The focus is actually a little bit off on this. I am a little disappointed, but I think that the focus is off because maybe because it was at 120, 125. I don't know. I think it was just off. I think that's just, I don't know where the focus hit at. It's hard to see. I'll tell you right now, this DiMarzio is kind of in focus. It might have hit there. Who knows? It probably hit somewhere on the microphone stand. I've been finding with a lot of these photos that like focus is off the microphone stand. And I said it in the last video that will never get released. But Sony, you're not watching this. But if anyone somehow, like a message in a bottle, comes across this and can relay this to Sony, please make it so that microphone stands are not recognized by your autofocus system. Because wow, it is so frustrating to be able to, I don't know what it is about the microphone stand, but it just the camera really wants to grab it. And in these situations too, in the venue like this, really eye autofocus is not working. You can get face. I found with video, facial focus was working, but a lot of times, even when I would pull in like a tight shot, like I wouldn't be shooting at like 24 millimeters or something like that, I would try to pull it into like a 70 or something. The camera had a hard time. It wanted to grab the microphone or wanted to grab like part of the stand, and I'd have to zoom out in order to make it go ahead and like snap to the face. And so that was frustrating. And then going through a lot of these photos, I mean, obviously I didn't intentionally take over 300 photos. You could say I took maybe 100 or a little over, and it was mostly just for one band. And that's something that is pretty typical of my style. Not that I like to say that it's like spray and pray, but if I can take 100 photos and I can get even just one photo for each member that's acceptable, that's good. I mean, that's doable. Like I don't want to have an imbalance or like, okay, I got like tons, for some reason I took just all of these photos of the guitar player or the singer and they're all like so good, but then I got like I didn't photograph the bass player, or I didn't photograph the drummer or something, or I did, but they didn't turn out well and everything. And I think that's kind of ridiculous. You gotta, I think everybody, if you've ever been in a band, everybody usually is, putting in like, a fair share of like work. And, a lot of those, like, especially those musicians, those bass players, the rhythm section, honestly, which is just so sad that the rhythm section is so important, and they just don't get the coverage they deserve. So this show, again, I kind of started, well, you can see here, I actually, looks like I started over on the left side of the stage. So I think maybe I was doing video and then I switched to photography. and that's what these are. Because now I'm over on the right side, and on the right side of the stage is, you know, I can do some work here. I'm able to get these low angle shots. Very, very important when photographing musicians on a stage. I can't say for anybody on a stage, I'm not totally sure, but for musicians especially, the lower you can get your camera, the better. A lot of times it's funny, like when we take selfies, everybody's got the camera, you know, you want to get the camera like above your head looking down. You want the opposite for, maybe it's like a similar effect to where like everything gets like skinnier in a sense or whatever, but for musicians, everybody gets larger. It seems like it's more of your legs, you know, you could see in this, and this is also, I think, a little bit of the 24 millimeter, where, you know, a little bit of its lens distortion and like what it does. But this is something that is, you want your subject to appear larger than life, and that's such an important thing. And you know, if you're not shooting from an angle that fills them where they fill the frame in such a way, you might as well just be standing like 15 feet back with your cell phone and just taking like a full stage photo, and you know, just go ahead and show that there's no one there or anything like while you're at it. But you know, so lighting, love the lighting here. Very interesting. I don't know how this works exactly, but I do believe they had like a slight smoke machine in the building so that they could have this kind of effect. I like the framing of this though very much. And so yeah, these are some pictures that, like, if the focus was right, sorry, I kind of had to sneeze. So if the focus was right, I was picking it. So I have these two photos and this third one here. So this third one, gosh, it's similar lighting to this one. Honestly, I like the composition. I like to not have to crop. I like to just be able to use the way I framed it and just go from that. Preferably even not even do a lot of, I have presets set up once I start editing. Like this is a lot of times, this is the longest process for, you know, going through the photos, is just sifting through the multiples and picking the right one and trying to, you know, determine, like, is this better than this one? Like, which one do I want? So, like, right now I'm looking at expressions, and I don't know. I was about to unselect this one, but now I'm thinking, like, you know, this is a little different. I don't know necessarily though whether or not this musician, you know, enjoys, you know, this face. They were making this guy was making a lot of faces. He had a lot of smiles. It was a very nice guy. This is kind of a little bit more of a little stink face or whatever, but well, I'm gonna keep it for now. So similar, this guy's got a stink face, but he was super cool. But I love the crowd here. This guy right here, there's a lot of, you know, I think we grabbed focus here, or we might have grabbed focus on the guitar. It looks like we grabbed focus on this guy's face. I was probably using zone area or whatever that focusing system is. If I was to go back, usually if I go ahead and set, you know, I like to do my focus point around here, exactly where I have this guitar player's face is kind of where I'll throw the focus at, and that's tried and true, rule of thirds kind of thing, and it's just a natural, it just comes about that way. So selection wise, so I got 3 photos. I think this one has the most sharpness because this guy's in. So that'll probably be what I go with, is this one here. So I actually want to go and drop these to 4s. Set list. Little details, little detail photos, not too important. Sometimes I don't know, I don't necessarily want to like give away like a band's. Yeah. I mean, this tour's already over. I think this is a little short tour. They're gonna do another one and stuff, but you know, I don't want people to know necessarily what they got in store for them, or if they mix it up. Photo. One little problem. So this is kind of interesting. I don't know what's going on here. I've got a looks like a water bottle. I'm not sure where those water bottles are coming from. What is this? I want to say this is a speaker monitor that's here, and that is kind of a bizarre. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think this water bottle might even be like, I don't know, in front? Or maybe it's because I moved and there was like a flash or something. Who knows? Anyways, we got that low angle. I think that we also already have this angle taken care of though, personally. We got this one. So I got this photo here. And I got this one here. I'm gonna put this one at a 4. Or just remove it. Maybe it just got removed. I'm not sure. Alright, so like I was saying, bass players, gotta give the bass players some love. And this is the one. I think this is the one I came across that I really enjoyed. Lighting is great. We got a very nice contrast of red and blue. Always nice. I mean, kind of like a really light blue, obviously, but this is like, you know, it's kind of a, we got a backlight, we got a front light. Who cares what the colors are? Very good. And yeah, 24 millimeter. This lens, I think, where it does really good in this thing, which is, honestly, I took some like whatever selfie modeling shots a couple weeks ago with this lens when I first got it, and the way it was framed, I put my head up higher here and it elongates my head, and I was like, well, that's kind of goofy looking. Like, I don't think I'm really into that kind of thing, but this elongating the legs, wow, this is, I love it. I really like these kind of shots. There's still a lot of headspace here. I might crop this just a little bit, maybe just bring it in to where it's cutting off just a little bit of the headstock of the base, but mostly I'm gonna keep this, but I don't want to give too much because it's like, I think just the fact that, like, I mean, it's proportional. It's strange how it works that way. It's a new thing that, like, I've never had the opportunity to do this before. Traditionally, I've always I mostly photograph with 50 millimeter for bands. It's always nice for, if I get close enough, I can get a really like tight headshot kind of profile, or you know, like upper torso. But from a distance, you know, it's enough. It gives me, I can get this if I have the space. But I took this photo here. I'm close. It doesn't look like it necessarily, but I'm on stage and I've pressed myself against the wall, trying to take up as little space as possible and get low. I've got low and I'm aiming up, and you know, bass player, I don't know if he saw me, if that's why or whatever, but you know, dude went ahead and struck a pose, and I am eternally grateful. Love it. Love when people go ahead and, you know, put that work in. Still on the side here, I've got this one. I definitely will. I was gonna crop in anyways for this, but yeah, we got the singer, you know, striking a pose and focuses on. It's good, and he's at a distance where the 1.4 aperture is it's pulling in a lot of his body. A lot of things look good there. So trying to get so drummer wise, I was having a little trouble tonight. There were 3 different attempts. I went to the drums and took photos, And so this is one photo I got. Not super stoked about it just because the symbol here is just taking up so much space in the frame. I really wish I had gone higher and aimed down, just like, you know, above the drummer. I think that would have been a better option. I was on the side of the stage and I didn't want to waste my opportunity being over there because I didn't want to, you know, if you're going to run across the stage and go, you know, set up, you know, in the way, not necessarily in the way, but like I was pushed against a wall. I was trying to, like, you know, not be in the way. And, but I don't want to be there too long, because I'm, you know, I'm visible to everybody in the crowd a little bit more, and it's not about me. So I wanted to get these shots. Unfortunately, I didn't do an over the head shot. I did this. This is the one I picked. I thought this one was this one's all right. But there's no snare drum. Was he? It looks like he's playing like a giant cymbal in his lap or something. I don't know. But I like the lighting. I like this this beam and this beam. Got a nice little pocket, little framing device here that we drop our subject into, and that's cool. So still on that side, I think I just wanted to get like some for protection, as they say. Some more of the bass player. I do apologize with these crooked angles. If anybody's neck is starting to hurt because they're trying to look at these straight on. So I basically have these two photos. I'm haven't totally decided between, but this one will be more, you know, I can edit this one more heavily. Most of the face and the head is in shadow. This one though, it's got a lot of that light casting across the face. So I don't know. It'll kind of come down. I think it'll come down to expression. I think I'll probably settle with this one. This seems more neutral. And also just in a way, the way the headstock of the guitar is, with the singer in the background, which is a very small, you know, detail of the photo. You're not going to be looking at that necessarily, but I do like that the headstock is up below his head. So yeah, moving on. This guy was at the venue all night. Just all night. I mean, this guy was having a good time. And for Bigwig, dude got to do a stage dive. And I mean, he's probably like, who knows, pushing 40, late 30s. I don't want to be too biased. I just hit 32, so I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to be ageist here. But this guy was having a fun time. And that's what's really cool with these shows. Bigwig is a band that's been around for over 20 years. They're a legendary punk band, and they've got some songs that just people love, like people grew up on. So when you get to when they're doing a tour like this, you know, they bring out fans that have been fans since they were in high school, which was a long time ago. But so yeah, this is a random photo. I think the focus is off on this necessarily. I mean, he was moving anyways. It's a soft photo, but I do know, I mean, I don't know, people look at these on cell phones. This picture, you know, is gonna look sharp on a cell phone, which, you know, I think a year ago I would have said that was like, bro, don't think that way. You don't want to base your opinions on how it looks on a cell phone. So if that's what someone's gonna look at it, you know, you got to think about it that way. Moving on, I only have a few more photos here. So these were interesting, different lighting from the night. Most of the night, this one is a little bit of a motion blur, but gosh, I love this glow. I love the glow of this light so much. So both of these have a very, very, very not natural, but like just a white, very blue kind of light that is this almost looks like studio lit in a way. So I'm happy. I'm happy I grabbed these. I think one of these will be nice to work with. And then this is a third one. not, I mean, I grabbed this or whatever, honestly. I mean, compared to these two photos, once they're edited, I think that, I mean, I'm going to keep a hold of this one just in case. This one, so I picked this one because, you know, the focus is on. I like him singing. I like the guitar, all of that, but like so much headspace. I don't know what I was doing, and this is something I've been working on my entire life. Stop giving him so much space, but who knows? This might have been just like, I might have shot this honestly, just sticking my arm out and like, you know, hitting a photo in front of a speaker, like because the crowd was just packed in so much or something. So I'm not super stressed about it. And then this last one, this was before I finished out the night. I did this is the third trip to the drummer, and this one I ran right up on his standing right up on his drum kit on this one. I am right there, and didn't go for the high. I got the snare in there. I wanted the snare in the photo, so we got that. And I've got some other photos from this angle, and about 10 honestly, and this is the only one that really. There was another one where he had, like, you know, there was a bit more of an expression, but it wasn't necessarily, I don't know. Drummers make faces. That's one of those things. Sometimes it's nice to be able to pick out one that really kind of stands out as like a bro, that's you. Like, you know, cut that face, like sticking the tongue out, like, you know, like Michael Jordan or something like that or whatever. Like, I mean, I'm sure he can't help that when he goes to dunk a ball and all, but no. So I wanted to I want photos to come across natural, and so this guy, I'm an ass. I can't remember his name, but like I was talking to him like well before the show started. Super cool guy. So I really want to make sure I got like a decent photo. But so yeah. But yeah, looking at these, I mean, I think I definitely have some that I'm really fond of. Obviously, yeah. This is gonna be a good one. The lighting, the color in this, or whatever. So I think so let's say it. Final verdict: 24mm Sony G Master lens. Gosh, do you want to compare this to the 35mm? I brought that with me to Detroit. If you go to my website, you can read my little blog post about that. I think that the 35mm 1.8 they just came out with is an awesome lens. Very fun. My only complaint with it was a little too sharp, if that's possible. I don't know. I might be wrong on that or whatever, but maybe a little too sharp. Biggest complaint, build quality, I don't know. Compared to it's not a G series lens, so it's not even like, so you can't even like compare it to a G Master. But I have the 24 to 105mm G series, the f4. And, you know, it does have an extending barrel as you zoom it, so that raises the concern of, you know, getting dust and bringing things like that into the lens. But overall, like, I mean, the quality of it felt, you know, really nice. The 35 1.8 is amazingly compact, which is one of the biggest things like people like rave about. So I think as like a snapshot lens, a travel lens, something that you just need to have, like you need a 35 1.8, like, I mean, that's, everybody should have that in their bag. I think you should totally go for it. Like, if that's like, if you were looking between a 24mm and the 35, unless you're doing absolutely like low light situations where you need the 1.4 aperture, the 1.8 is well above good enough for what you need, most likely. But I think for longevity and long-term use, and I don't know, I don't want to say like I'm rough on my lenses, but like I don't want to think about like, as one of the things I loved about my vintage glass was the fact that I'm not worried about this thing, you know, throw it in my bag or whatever, it gets wet or anything like that. Like, obviously they don't have any electronics in them. That's great. But there's a certain security I feel that comes with owning a G Master lens and holding it compared to just one of Sony's standard lenses. And so I'm not super versed on the, I guess, the mechanics of the autofocus systems that are within the lenses themselves. So I love manual focusing, and I like the simplicity and the fact that there's less moving parts, and you know, a lens can just do what it's made to do. So the world of autofocusing is something that I've been just stepping into in the last really like 4-6 months, and I rented the 35 1.8 for a week, and I used it on a trip, and I liked it. I mean, more than liked it, I mean, I really like enjoyed the lens, and I enjoyed the photos. Like, please go check out, you know, the little blog post I wrote. But I don't know, I just feel like the 24 millimeter is just kind of, I'm not going to say I'm going to like throw it against a wall and not be worried that it's going to be okay, but I am very confident that this lens will last me for life, or for as long as the Sony E-mount system exists. So that's that. So yeah, I was really nervous looking at these photos because I took these pictures 2 weeks ago and have not looked at them at all. I did quick little glances through my camera as I was taking them, in between songs, but really I've been a little bit nervous about looking at this because this was my first show shooting with the 24 1.4 lens, and I don't know, I'm happy for my first time using it, really not knowing how to use it properly. I'm glad I got some shots that I think really showcase, you know, what it's capable of, and I know, and even since then I've done like some work with it. I'm filming with it right now. I think it's gonna definitely be something that just kind of stays a part of my kit. So if you just went ahead and like, yeah, fast forwarded to the end of this video just to find out whether or not I think the 24 is worth it or not, absolutely, definitely. If it's within the price range of something you're willing to spend on a lens, it's absolutely, like, I mean, I learned the 24 millimeter focal range. I mean, you can do so much with it, from close up to like medium distance of somebody. I've gotten to use it now with like some group photos where I've had like over 20 or 30 people in the photo, and it's really nice to be able to have, you know, just that extra space. And yeah, and most recently, I mean it doesn't matter, but once you like start bumping it up to like, you know, f4 or f5.6, the sharpness is just unbelievable. So if you have the right lighting to shoot with that kind of, you know, or aperture, you just get these amazingly sharp and stunning images. So yeah, I'm glad it was not a wasted investment. Obviously, I'm a little biased, I'm gonna say that since I have it now or whatever, but no, I'm very glad that, you know, I've got these photos and that I'm gonna be able to go ahead and edit these. Like I said, I like to lightly edit, so hopefully that won't, like, you know, take me too long. But throw some we'll throw some presets. Usually I throw a preset and then I just do little tweaks from there, and then maybe make a new preset based off that, just so that other images that are similar in that batch get the same treatment. But I don't know, I'm looking forward to using this upcoming shows. I think this Saturday I'm gonna be going out, and yeah, I'm gonna definitely use it then. And unfortunately, in this show next Monday, I will just be doing video, so I won't have the opportunity to do any photography, but don't worry about that. But anyways, yeah, hopefully, I get some more videos in the future using this lens, and just kind of, sharing the experiences that we get from it. So also the 24 to 105. That's my bread and butter. I mean, it's an f4 aperture, but like, you know, if the lighting is there, I mean, who doesn't want that kind of option? So, all right. Anyways, thanks for checking this out and everything, and yeah, take it easy. Peace.